Almost all of us had to deal with a really sluggish computer system at some point in our lives, and there are many that still do. So I'm going to share with you guys some of the techniques that I use to make sure that I get the best possible performance out of my computer system, which doesn't cost a dime. So let's get started. So the very first thing is to disable unnecessary startup applications. This ensures that your computer will boot up much quickly. To do this, just right click the taskbar, go to the task manager, and go to the startup tab. Here you can see a list of applications. Some are enabled, whereas a lot of them are disabled on my PC. As you install new applications, a lot of them gets added to this list and they're automatically enabled to turn on when your computer boots up. This can actually slow down your computer in the long run. So you can take a look at these and disable the ones you really don't need. To disable them, just right click one of them and disable. That's it. It's simple as that. The next thing you can do is to defrag your hard drive. Files are not stored in continuous locations across your hard drive, which means that the read head of the drive will have to traverse a much longer distance than it usually would if the file was in a single location. Defragmentation tries to collect all the bits of a file and try to put them in continuous physical locations on the hard drive so that it can be read much faster. Also, it collects all the free space on the hard drive and tries to put them on a continuous location, on a continuous physical location, so that newer files that is written to the hard drive can be written in a continuous manner. To do this, just go to the start menu, defrag, and all your drives will be listed over here. You can select all of them or any of them and give optimize. It also shows how much is fragmented or how much files are not in exactly continuous locations, and just hit optimize and it defrags it. So you have to defrag only mechanical hard disk drives and not solid state drives. Windows automatically detects this, and what the utility does is, instead of defragmenting the solid state drives, it trims them. Trim is another process which is out of the scope of this video, but it really helps improve the longevity of a solid state drive. And next we are going to look at power modes. And this is something you are definitely gonna kick yourself for if you haven't implemented it yet. So all you have to do is go to Windows Mobility Center and it will show all the different power modes available. So I'll just show you what each one does. So let me just go to Task Manager so that we can see the processor clock frequencies. So basically we have the power saver mode. So in power saver mode, what happens is that the processor is underclocked in order to save power. So here you can see when in power saver mode, my processor is capped to just 1.19 gigahertz. And whatever the load on the CPU is, it does not fluctuate. So this actually saves power, but it does cripple the performance of your system. Next one is the balance mode. Now once I went to the balance mode, the frequency of my processor went up to 2.89 gigahertz. And again, in the balance mode, depending on the load under which the processor is, the frequency will be scaled accordingly. That means the frequency will go up if the processor is under load. And if the processor is under light load, the frequency will be scaled down. So this helps in a good way. It saves power when the processor is not under load. At the same time, the processor is not throttled when you really need all that power. Next up is the high performance mode. And in high performance mode, the CPU frequency is maintained at the highest possible level depending on the thermals of your system. On laptops, I usually go for the balance mode and switch to the high performance mode as need arises. This gives me the best balance between power consumption and performance. On the other hand, if you are on a desktop, just go with the high performance mode unless you are really concerned with the power consumption of your system. Next up, you might want to check the health of your hard disk. Hard disks can develop something called the bad sectors, which are permanently damaged physical locations. A lot of bad sectors can really slow your reading and writing process and slow down your computer entirely. So you will have to run a disk scan to ensure that all the data from the bad sectors are retrieved as much as possible and moved to good locations. To do this, all you have to do is go to My Computer and right click on any specific drive that you want to do. Ideally, if you are doing it for the first time, you want to do it across all of them. and go to hardware, not exactly hardware, go to tools, and you have error checking option. Just click on check and scan drive. So this will scan the drive, and if there are any kind of bad sectors, this will try to recover the data from that location and move it to good locations, and it will also label the bad sectors so that no fresh data will be written to those locations. Next up is to make use of dual channel RAM. This point is mostly meant for those who are building a new computer system, or if you're looking to upgrade your RAM on your existing PC. Dual channel RAM concept, I possibly cannot explain the whole thing in this video, but I'll try to put it in as briefly as possible. Effectively, it means, for example, if you're looking to get 16 GB RAM for your computer, just split that into two 8 GB sticks if your processor supports and the motherboard supports dual channel RAM. Effectively, what it will do is help your processor fetch data from your RAM at faster speeds, effectively double the speeds than when you are using one single stick of RAM. So whenever you are upgrading your RAM, or if you are building a new system, make sure that you get 2 sticks of 8 GB or maybe 2 sticks of 16 GB of RAM rather than using one stick of 16 GB or one stick of 32 GB. And finally, open your computer system and clean it out every 2 to 3 years. And if required, replace the thermal compound on your processor as well as the graphics card. Dust that builds up in a computer system over time can reduce the airflow and lead to much more air being trapped inside the system. This in turn can lead to thermal throttling of the CPU and GPU, where the CPU and GPU scales down its frequency to make sure that less heat is generated in order to contain the total amount of heat that is generated. This in turn results in a much lower performance of your system than what you should actually be getting. Cleaning out your computer system is much more straightforward on a desktop system, but you might need a little more experience to do this on a laptop. You can look up some videos on the internet for doing this on laptops, or even take the help of someone who can do it for you. So guys, that's it. And let me know if there are some techniques that you guys use to make sure that your PC stay in top shape. Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, peace out.